I'm blind, ask questions. When I was 8, my mother decided to divorce my father. On June 14th, 2006, he shot me while I was sleeping, shot my brother, and then killed himself. After that, I had my left eye removed and my right eye was completely blind. I also lost my sense of smell. I am open to any questions about my life. Here are some of my hobbies. Competitive swimming. I currently live and train at an Olympic training center. Music. I play piano, guitar, drums, and sing a little. Video games. I mostly play Pokemon, Mortal Kombat, Black Ops, Smash Bros., and other games. I know you may be wondering exactly how I play video games, so I would be happy to answer any question. Board games, like Magic the Gathering. I just get high on that game. YouTube. I like making YouTube videos on various topics. Unboxing, about technology, about education, basically just about anything, just from a blind perspective. Before you ask how I use technology, let me answer. On my computer I use the NVDA screen reader, and on my iPhone I have a built-in voiceover program.
Then my first question would be, how do you play video games?
I play with headphones, memorize all the sounds, use stereo to understand where the objects are, and so on. But I can't play all the games, some are more difficult to master than others, but I'm trying nonetheless.
You need to record and upload a video of you playing something. People basically love the usual year lies, but you'd beat them all.
I already have a couple of videos of me playing on my YouTube channel.
Did you happen to develop perfect hearing because of all this?
I don't believe you can develop perfect hearing. Either you have it or you don't. I could be wrong, though. Anyway, I don't have perfect hearing.
Yes, I think you're right. Another question on the subject of hearing. Do you play music by ear, or do you understand more theory, or both?
It's exactly by ear. I always wanted to learn the theory, though.
If blindness has its perks,
A really cool question. 1. The sun is not blinding. Second, you can walk around in the dark. Third, you can embarrass passersby by unknowingly looking at them. Fourth, you don't have to look at the phone screen. So far, all that immediately came to mind.
do you remember what colors look like? You were 8 when you went blind, so I guess you must remember, but your memory gets worse with time, right?
Yes, I remember what the colors look like. I don't think it's even possible to forget.
Then what is your favorite color?
Of course, my favorite color is blue.
How do you try to make sense of your brother's murder? Or do you try not to think about such things?
You know, what happened is what happened. It's pretty shitty, what else can I say?
I hope this isn't a strange question, but don't you think that blindness has somehow overshadowed the tragedy? I mean, instead of worrying about what happened, did you focus on your personal rehabilitation? Or maybe blindness somehow made you a different person and you were able to appreciate what happened to your brother in a different way?
Actually, that sentence makes quite a lot of sense. I never thought of it that way, but you may well be right.
What were your first thoughts when you realized you were blind? How did you find out? Did you think you were just in a dark room with no light at the moment, or did someone explain to you right away what had happened? What was it like when you started adjusting to your new lifestyle?
I woke up in the hospital already blind. It was a very strange sensation, because, as I told myself, I couldn't see anything. My mother told me what happened. I still feel like I reacted to that situation in a very different way than people expected. I kind of just accepted it and went on with my life. That doesn't mean that it didn't affect me in any way. For example, I was afraid of adults for months after it happened.
Music seems to take up a huge part of your life. Is it because hearing has become your strongest sense? If so, what do you listen to?
It's definitely true, just not because I'm blind, but because I'm a musician. I like rock, metal, electronic music, jazz, indie, and other styles of music.
Do you have colorful dreams? Do you communicate with any of your father's relatives?
I hardly ever dream. And no, my father's relatives refuse to communicate with us.
Since you're a swimmer, I wonder if you learned to swim before or after what happened. If before, did you have to learn again after you went blind?
It would be interesting to know for myself whether I would need to learn again or not. But I learned to swim after I became blind.
As far as I know, are you in college? What are you studying and what do you want to be in the future?
I went to college, took a break to move to an Olympic training center to devote my time to training. However, I am going back to college. I want to be a computer programmer.
How do you think your inability to see affects your social environment? And what are you doing to remedy the situation? I mean, do you have a girlfriend? Is it harder for you to find a girlfriend? A similar question about work. Is it hard to find a job? What are you doing to overcome these difficulties?
Good questions. I always had trouble making friends in high school. Partly because of my blindness, partly because I basically had trouble interacting with people. During that same time period, I also had a hard time dating girls. Now I'm happy, I have a girlfriend, and I'm not complaining. As for the job, yes and no, it depends on the job category. Luckily for me, there are already blind bloggers, musicians, and programmers. And that's all I want to do. As for other fields, I've heard stories about blind people having a harder time.
You said you were playing Black Ops. I'm just curious how exactly. I can understand, for example, how you can use stereo sound to distinguish the general location of people, things of some sort, but how do you know if they are enemies or friends? Also, how do you determine what kind of guns you have and things like that? And finally, how do you know if you're actually aiming at enemies?
Well, I mostly play in zombie mode. All guns have a different sound, and shooting zombies is as easy as understanding, thanks to the stereo sound, that they are in the center.
What is your favorite superhero?
Daredevil, for obvious reasons. I'd like to be one.
Who are you in love with at least just because of the voice?
Into his girlfriend, of course.
Does she help you in any way? If so, how? How long have you been together?
Well, she's my girlfriend. She helps me with a lot of things. We've been together for a year now.
What game piques your interest but isn't as accessible to you as the games you play regularly?
I've always wondered what Fortnite is all about. I mean, what makes it so cool that everyone plays it?
What useful things did your teachers do for you and what was unreasonable on their part?
From helpful, were as responsive as they could be. It was unreasonable not to want to let me use devices that would help me.
I saw you have a tattoo. I'm sorry if this question seems rude, but why do you have a tattoo if you're blind and can't see it?
Hmm. Well, I used to be able to see, so I know what she looks like. Besides, it's just a deeper way of expressing yourself than through clothes, if you know what I mean.
How do you feel about the fact that in the future eyes can be replaced by cameras?
I would have been very happy if it had happened to me.
How did what happened affect your relationship with your mother?
We've always had a difficult relationship with my mother. Not because of what happened to me, but rather because we are very different people.
How and why did you become involved in track and field at a serious level, despite the fact that you can't see? Was there no sense of fear? How did you overcome it?
Before I went blind, I played soccer, so I really missed being active.
How do you remember your father? If you still have any memories you cherish or traits of him that you remember, or has what happened deleted your memory of him?
Yes, I have good memories of sitting and playing Smash Bros. Together, of him teaching me how to drive an ATV, of him building me a rope slide, and so on.
How did you feel right after he shot himself?
I don't know. I woke up when it happened, but my brain erased all memory of that moment. All that was left in my memory was waking up in the hospital blind.
Do you have a scar from a gunshot?
Yes, that scar on the left side of my head had healed. But when the bullet went through my head, it lodged in my left palm. And that left a pretty nasty scar on my palm.
I understand if you don't want to answer, but do you know why your father decided to shoot you and your brother, but left your mother alive?
He wrote about it in his suicide note. My father wanted to cause my mother as much suffering as possible, so he didn't kill her.
Could you ever have imagined that your father would do something so horrible?
No, I was only 8. How could anyone at that age think about something like that?
What kind of tattoos do you have and what are their meanings?
1 to 2, in Braille, reads through pain we grow. The second tattoo depicts the Pokemon Gyarados. It symbolizes a time in my life when Pokemon was a way for me to stay out of the visible world, but still feel normal. It also symbolizes my path to the Paralympics.
Thank you very much for watching, and I wonder if you know blind people. Write little stories about them in the comments. Subscribe, get likes, and see you in our next video. Bye.